let's get on to the subject.
Yes.
We're talking basically about the times we live in, which I've
Mm.
just, as by way of an intro, said we actually live in biblical times, and
Oh,
it's
yes.
about time we woke up about that.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to be talking tonight about everything, including the Georgian Guidestones and the Satanic Ten Commandments and a whole range of associated things. Do you
Mm.
want to, before we get into this PowerPoint presentation, do you want to give us a bit of your background and as to why you became so interested in this subject? What inspired you?
Well, the Bible. I promise you, the Bible is the most amazing scientific, biological, historical, educational book there is. There is nothing more interesting than the Word of God. And it has to be, if the God that we believe in is really the creator of everything, then everything must be revealed in the words that left his mouth.
Right.
And the more you study the Bible and the more you look around at the evolution of history and science, technology, education, government systems, the more you recognize the stuff the Bible talks about.
Yeah. When I went to boarding school back in the 60s and in the early 70s, now I'm really showing my age. Um, um, I remember because there were Christian boarding schools. It was Cornwallis and Michael House, and we
Mm,
had church services every day, and a
sure.
long one on Sundays. And there was often talk about this mark of the beast,
Mm,
and no one back then could understand what the heck the Bible was talking about.
yeah.
There was this weird thing called the mark of the beast, and now
Mm,
everybody knows that it's a chip in your hand.
mm.
It's just
Well,
crazy.
it's much more than that.
I'm
But
sure.
can we talk about that maybe in another session? Because now you're going to crack open another can of worms.
Okay. Before
It's
we crack
really
open the
fascinating.
before we crack open another can of worms, how about we get started on your presentation on
Yes.
this subject? Over to you.
Well, the previous discussion we had was on 5G and the whole satanic
Yeah.
agenda behind that. And we really touched on so many sensitive points. And I showed you the Georgian Guidestones, and we really concentrated on the depopulation at that stage. But then we saw the world court system, and that sparked your interest. And I said, well, the world courts has a lot to do with the Jews of the Bible that call themselves Jews, but they're not. They're from the synagogue of Satan. They will be the end time world rulers. And that touches again on the laws that these rulers will mandate across the new world order, one world government. And that's when you said, well, we have to talk about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can guide away. Should
Absolutely.
I share
Let's.
my screen?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Uh, Start sharing.
There we
Okay,
go.
can you see it?
Yep. Absolutely.
Way. All right, so we all know what this is by now. It is the Georgian Guidestones, and we have to have a little bit of background knowledge because I'm going to give you, what a 1,000-piece puzzle is like.
Mm-hmm.
Every piece looks like it doesn't belong to any other piece. I'm going to show you a lot of puzzle pieces, and I would like you guys to strap on and just try and keep up. Because once all is done, you're gonna see this picture that has been built up by all these puzzle pieces. So, the Georgian Guidestones is a solid granite monument. In the stones itself, you've got a lot of mysterious languages. You've got English, normal English, Spanish, Swahili, but then you've got Hindu, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian. Now, this was erected in 1980. And there's a short message inscribed at the top of the structure as well. And that's quite important and occultic. I'll show you now. So in the top of the structure, in the capstone, you've got Egyptian hieroglyphics. You've got Sanskrit, classical Greek, and Babylonian cuneiform. These are ancient religious languages.
Right.
So remember we talked about the Tower of Babylon. This is very significant when it comes to the eternal. It's not an old Bible, Old Testament story only, the Tower of Babylon. We looked at that in the previous session. The Tower of Babylon is still a tower today, still being erected by a world government that wants to gather all the nations together and have one world leader. And the whole time we talk, we must remember there's two kingdoms. We have the kingdom of the serpent, and we have the kingdom of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the Messiah, Yeshua, the word of God that became flesh. So the whole time we keep these two kingdoms in our mind as we discuss this. So in the slab in the center, why doesn't my PowerPoint want to move? Oh, there we go. You can see that name.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So you've got a center pillar. You can see that there's a strong, thick center pillar. Remember, this is all solid granite. And then you've got 4 slabs arranged around it. And then the capstone itself, you can see it's a humongous structure.
Wow.
This was a couple of millions.
It's so 19 meters high.
It is massive. I'll get to the actual dimensions for you just now. But on this capstone has been just like the Egyptian pyramids and like the Stonehenge in Britain, and all these ancient occult religious sites. It's got to do with sun god worship. And this specific capstone, you've got your astronomical features. It shows you the celestial pole. It shows you the annual travel of the sun. It shows you the noon time throughout the year. The sunbeam has a specific route that it follows, that this capstone guides. It's totally astronomically aligned with the movement of the sun. And that's important to remember, because sun god worship is the biggest worship against the worship of the God of the Bible that we know as Yahweh. So some people say Jehovah, Yahweh, Yahuwah, but the God of the Bible. So the sun god, the serpent, the Luciferian one, the one that's illuminated, is this false god that we are currently busy exposing a lot of people all around the world. The other thing you said when you were in school, everybody was gossiping and wondering and thinking, what can the mark of the beast be? That is also biblical prophecy, because in the book of Daniel, it says that this mystery and these prophecies will only be broken open in the end days. And the fact that we have a better understanding of what the mark of the beast is currently building up to being is proof that these are the end days, because these mysteries are being broken open. You would have to start understanding that the ancient sun god religion is still alive today. It's well in the occult and illuminated religions of today. It's still practiced by the Illuminati, the Freemasonry, and all the mystery religions of today. And it's impossible for me to explain and prove this to you. I want to show you the next monument. And I don't want to offend any of the people in your audience, but they would have to start doing a lot more homework into the sun god religion. We're going to just, scratch the surface actually tonight. But almost every major monument on earth has been designed by Freemasonry. Not saying all monuments, but most of the major monuments. And there's a lot, just like in the Georgian Guidestones, there's a lot of sun astronomical alignment, meaning that there's in the architecture of these monuments, you have what is the word? You've got purpose, and the purpose is to promote sun god worship, because the sun is allowed to shine in certain important dates. It's allowed to shine on certain important points within the structure. I'm going to show you that now. So these Freemason architects made sure that there's a lot of sun god symbols and astronomical intentions and mysterious hidden messages. So once you understand this and you visit this specific site, your eyes will actually be open to recognizing a lot of that. I'm not sure if you have recently visited this specific monument.
I have actually. Yeah, I love the Voortrekker monument. It is just such a beautiful symbol of, the Boer.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Have you recognized any occult symbolism?
No, I hadn't, but
There's 3,000. There's 3,000.
wow.
Okay, but you have to start understanding the hidden messages in the symbolism. Symbolism is
Yeah,
extremely important. You know that. You see all these new organizations worldwide, and you look at their symbols, and you start seeing the hidden meanings behind that. The more you go into this research and you visit a site like this, you actually your mouth hangs open because you start recognizing that. I'm just going to show you the astronomical alignment. So you have to remember one thing. All pagan temples from antiquity up to today has always been built. Their foundation always had some dead guy in it. This, of course, for us is a very important monument for us as the Afrikaans nation. But again, that's why I showed you the sun astronomical route that the sun follows and how it falls on the Georgian Guidestones. It's exactly the same here. On that specific day, this structure has been designed so that the sun shines directly on this grave. And if you go to all the beautiful cathedrals all over Europe, and you go and visit them on the inside, and you go to the basement, it's full of these saints that has been buried there, because that is how they built pagan temples all throughout time. They built it around a very important person's grave. So the foundation of these pagan temples are graves, dead bones.
right.
And right on that specific day that,
16th of
Christianity
December.
worships, on that specific day, the sun shines on this dead guy's grave. So again, if you compare it to the Bible, there's a lot of Bible verses that says, don't worship the dead. Of course, when we go here on 16th December, we don't worship the dead. But this is a pagan tradition. Let's move away from this, because I just wanted to give you another puzzle piece. There's many, many puzzle pieces. We all know what that is. So basically here, this is a part of the Georgian Guidestones. It's an additional tablet that is set to the west of the structure in the ground.
Right.
Can you read what it says there?
Yeah, let these be guidestones to an age of reason.
All right. Now, what the founders of the Georgian Guidestones says is that this stone in the ground explains the purpose of the Georgian Guidestones. Now, that means it's very important. Now, I want to tell you about the age of reason. Would you say reason is a person, or is it a thought or an emotion? Your first idea of reason, what would you say? What is reason?
I think a philosophy to life.
Okay, I'm going to show you who reason is. It's indeed a philosophy, but it's rooted in an ancient sun god, goddess worship system. This is the Whore of Babylon from the Bible. So in the previous interview, we remembered that the New World Order, we said, isn't really very new. It's rooted in the serpent, tree of knowledge, Tower of Babylon, Pharaoh, Nebuchadnezzar, the Greek mythology. That whole system is very ancient. So the takeover of the world has its roots in the ancient serpent's agenda from the book of Genesis, and all the scheming and the planning and the deception and the ideas that the serpent has is coming from very far down the historical line, and it always points back to the Bible. The serpent's deception.
Can I just make an observation, Mada?
Yes, please.
And that is that last night we had a very interesting, excuse me, live stream, which included this rock which had been carved by the Khoisan in the southern part of Africa. It was sort of like near the Botswana. It was southern part of Botswana, somewhere around there. But the rock was actually in the shape of a serpent. It was a snake.
Oh.
And they'd actually carved this stone to make it more like a snake. And they had put offerings down below this serpent in this, like a pit. And I found that fascinating, because when we refer to the snake, it seems that the snake is worshipped not just in Egypt, where obviously you can see the sculptures of snakes, but
Mm.
almost every different tribe and group, without any contact of each other, for some reason,
Mm.
worship the snake. It's weird. Back to you.
Do you know? Do you know how that happened?
Tell me.
Okay, again, the Bible has all the answers. What happened at the Tower of Babylon? Everyone knew the story of Genesis. Everyone knew the story of Genesis 3, where the serpent, because remember now, the false god is Lucifer. And the people that worship him actually says that Jehovah is the bad one that wanted to keep knowledge away from us. And that Lucifer, the serpent, the dragon, Satan, is actually the good one. So the people had the knowledge of Genesis 3. They had the knowledge of Noah's Ark. They had the knowledge of the Nephilim and the fallen angels and all the mysterious esoteric knowledge that the fallen angels gave to humans in Genesis 6. So when it comes to Genesis 10 and 11, these people all have the same foundation. And from the Tower of Babylon, God separated them, and they went into 70 different, they became 70 different nations. 70 is very important. It's a massive prophetic figure, because the whole Sanhedrin of the Jewish cabal is 70. 70 is also the number that the people that translated the Hebrew Bible into Greek. It's called the Septuagint. It's got to do with 70. When Solomon offered up sacrifices during the Feast of Tabernacles, he offered 70 bulls, one for each of these nations. So although the nations today has almost no contact with each other, we all come from a historical background, from the same religion, from the same language, from the same history. And from there on, the false religions was built upon a little bit of the truth. So you'll find the truth of Noah's Ark and the fallen angels and ancient aliens in every religion and every culture that is now spread across the world.
Right.
Okay, back to the Whore of Babylon, because we are looking at who is reason. This reason that this New World Order is guiding through the Georgian Guidestones, guiding us in. So I don't really have a lot of time to drill deep into this. There's a lot more we can say, but I'll give you a very quick history lesson on Mystery Babylon. In the Bible, she's called the Whore of Babylon, in the book of Revelation. And if we understand her, we can understand reason. I'll show you. So this is represented by various entities all over the world. I'm not going to comment on every slide. I want you guys to look at the slides and build your little puzzle pieces so that you can see this woman, this Whore of Babylon, this illuminated goddess. And remember, Lucifer and this whole sun god system is androgynous. That's how you say it. Doesn't matter whether it's a man or a woman. Even at this Statue of Liberty, you know, is it a man or a woman? You can't really say. And the Statue of Liberty is very similar to many of these sun goddesses of ancient religion. You can see her everywhere. She's a representative of the satanic, demonic, pagan, heathen sun goddess worship all over the world, over all of the ancient times, even up to today. She's in government, education, finance, and religion. I've got millions of pictures to show you to prove that. And unfortunately, I'm not referring to pagan religions only. She has crept into many normal religions as well. Yeah. Just a quick overview of this goddess. In the Bible, she's called the Queen of Heaven, or Ishtar, or Ashtoreth, and many other names. She's alive and well. Remember, she's androgynous. So whether she's a she or a he, it's the same. She's the same entity, the same at the end of the day. So back to showing you who this age of reason really is. Try and keep all the puzzle pieces together, because you need to understand how the current global genetic deception that the New World Order is busy with, how this is forming a picture with the ancient sun god system, and how that, when we get to the Noahide laws, how that then builds upon each other in this Tower of Babylon New World Order. This is Athena. She is the one of the depictions of the Whore of Babylon. She's the goddess of reason, wisdom, and war. So if you can just go to Encyclopedia Britannica and you look at Athena, you'll find that she's the goddess of reason, wisdom, and war. Remember that. Now, during the French Revolution, very important happening at the French Revolution, the goddess Athena, they called her the goddess of reason, because the French Revolution has a lot to do with liberty. And liberty is also the name of a goddess. You have to go back and look who liberty was, what she stood for, who this goddess reason was, what she stood for. And it's not, you know, me and you, we've got a reasonable mind. We think reason is the reason like we understand it. No, the reason of the occult is always back to Lucifer, to the illuminated one, to how he will illuminate your reason, how he will help you to break away from your earthly, your slavery, and he will give you illumination. So Athena, or the goddess of reason, was chosen by the liberals in the French Revolution to replace Christianity. And a cult of reason was born, which was based on the ideals of reason, virtue, and liberty. And this religion was supposed to be universal and spread the ideas of the revolution, because the revolution was all about liberty. So it sounds like a good thing. But they even erected a temple called the Temple of Reason. But they enthroned atheism. Atheism started very strongly during the age of reason in the French Revolution. Now, out of the French Revolution, do you know this declaration? Has any of you ever saw the Declaration of Freedom from the French Revolution? Okay, if you can see all the symbols, look right at the top. You can see the triangle, the pyramid, the eye.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Look to the left. You can see the woman that's breaking the chains.
Yep.
Okay. Towards the right, it looks like an angel, a woman, female angel.
Yeah.
And then I want to show you specifically here. I don't know if the picture is clear enough. Can you see what that is?
Representation, the people, something. Oh, okay. No, I didn't see that. Oh, it's snake. Yeah, you got a snake there.
Can you see that? Okay, very important. Because remember now, this is the French Revolution. The age of reason was born. Reason, the goddess, was enthroned. And now the Declaration of Human Rights. This is very important. We all know human rights in this country. Human rights was put on something that looks exactly like the Ten Commandments you saw in the previous picture.
Yeah.
Again, it's Satan taking something from God, some of the truth, and then mixing it with his ideas and his agenda. So out of the French Revolution came the Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Rights of the Citizen in 1789. And this was inspired by enlightened philosophers. Now, the guy that erected the Georgian Guidestones, he also said that he represented enlightened philosophers, you know?
Right.
So the declaration was a core statement of the values of the French Revolution, and it had a major impact on the development of popular conceptions of individual liberty, individual human rights, and democracy, and it was spread all over Europe. That was the birth of human rights. But with what root? This root. Look at the serpent. The Tower of Babylon, the serpent kingdom, has never changed. So here I have to maybe ask you guys if you want to understand more. You can look at this on YouTube, Know Your Enemy. It's a very good documentary that will help you understand how the French Revolution, and in fact, all revolutions and all wars, the First World War, the Second World War, and the Third World War that is soon coming, how they were planned and executed by the Illuminati in order to create the outcome that they want. And now you will start to understand how the gods and goddesses of the illumination is worshipped.
You know, right, I just want to touch on something that I think is important, and that is that if you look at the manner in which the family unit has been attacked in the last
Oof.
100 years,
Mm,
and you look at the way
mm.
that they are now pushing this whole LGBTQI,
LGBTQ plus.
etc., um,
Mm.
down everybody's throat. And here in Australia, they've now actually got a rugby team that last night was
I
forced to
saw,
play with a
and
gay
7 guys
symbolism
refused.
around their on their
I, s-
shirt, and
I
and, and,
saw
and
that.
7 of the players refused to do it. They said,
Yes.
"We're not
Well
going to
done.
be party to this," and they have
Yes, well
been
done.
absolutely libeled and denigrated and told to
Yes.
wake up. They're like making them out to be the bad guys. I
Yeah.
think it's absolutely disgusting what is going on in the world today, and this whole it's just crazy.
Mm. There's again a lot of biblical reasoning behind that. One of the biggest things that I'll just quickly mention is as you go through the first 10 commandments, you can actually start seeing how each and every one of every one of those 10 commandments are slowly but surely being turned into lies. So if you follow this commandment, you're going to get in trouble. If you follow this commandment, you're a bad person.
Yeah, and the
So
Bible itself
it's
is now being condemned by these groups.
yes. Yeah, no, it's easy for them to condemn the Bible because it's for whatever reasons they have. But in the universe of the where the spirits are operating, they have to overthrow the stone commandments where the 10 commandments were written. Those stones of God, they have to break them apart, even in the spirit. So they take this commandment, and if you follow this, you're actually breaking the law of the world, of the country. And you can, if you now say that a man is a man and a woman is a woman, you can actually be fined.
It's
You can be
crazy.
taken to court.
It's
You know,
absolutely
so
crazy.
so what God's commandments clearly written in stone is commanding us is turned totally on
Yeah.
its head. And that's again, it's an end time prophecy. Because the prophets are saying, God, when is the time that you are going to stand up from your throne and take your vengeance because they have made to nothing every one of your commandments?
Well,
So we are waiting for that day.
I think it's really pertinent. I know you're probably going to talk about this shortly, but with the Georgia Guidestones, which is obviously one of these symbols of Satan, it was quite extraordinary because last month a lightning bolt just after 4 o'clock in the morning, an act of God struck one of those Georgia Guidestones and shattered it. And there's actually video footage which I put up on Loving Life
Yes,
TV where you can
I've
actually see that
investigated
happening.
that.
And
Yeah, so it's very difficult to say whether it was really a lightning or
I
whether it
tell
was
you,
a beam.
I tell you why I believe it is, and there are 2 reasons.
I would love it to be. I would
Yeah,
love to be.
yeah. Look, there are 2 reasons. One is that there's a street light which is quite close to the Georgia Guidestones, and in the CCTV footage, at the very moment that Guidestone shatters and explodes, the street light goes brighter, just for a fraction of a second. And I've spoken to a lot of people who are involved in electricity and electricians. They say that when there's lightning in the air, streetlights in particular go brighter
Oh,
because
is
of the
it?
electricity that's actually around them.
That's
And that makes a lot
surging.
of sense. And you can actually see that. You can see the
Mm,
thing going brighter. The other reason I believe it's an act of God and it was a lightning bolt is because with an explosion you get red fire. You get you can actually see the explosion happening. There
mm.
was no red fire. There was no after the shattering. There was no blackened granite. It was just
Yeah,
shattered.
I agree. I don't think it was an explosion at all.
Yeah,
It's either it was a satellite beam or it was like you say. I would love it to be
it's an act of God, and
act of
that's
God.
why they tore the whole thing down. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. I heard that Albert Bourlet, who is from Pfizer, which is big pharma, has
Yeah.
said that they will pay for the rebuilding of the Georgia Guidestones.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
isn't that
What the
interesting?
hell does he have to do with the Georgian Guidestones that talks about depopulation, taking 8 billion people to 500 million
Yeah,
people?
exactly.
Why
Anyway,
would he
sorry,
give his money for that?
back to you.
Wow, interesting. And it's the timing of the destruction of the Georgian Guidestones.
Mm.
It's almost in the same period that CERN got powered up again. Anyway,
Well, let
that's
me
a whole,
just on a very important point related to that. The
yeah.
very next day, excuse me, the very next day, the authorities tore down the Guidestones. They actually
Mm.
destroyed them. And you know, where you've got a criminal um,
Investigation,
yeah, what happened to investigating the explosion,
the crime
the
scene.
crime
Yeah.
scene? Because they
Mm.
didn't. So
Mm.
clearly they
The
were
hiding.
scared out of their pants because an act of God had struck this Guidestone, and they decided to pull the whole thing down.
Wow, that's amazing because they're supposed to investigate and look at the
Absolutely.
evidence.
If there's
Wow.
an act of terrorism, you're supposed to investigate it,
Yeah.
but they didn't.
Just like 9/11.
Yeah.
They cleared 9/11 before there was any investigation.
Mm.
Very interesting. All right, so French Revolution we looked. So the Georgian guy. Okay, back to an age of reason. All right, so here we have the 10 commandments of these Georgian Guidestones. It's an age where the illumination of the serpent kingdom will rule. Remember, I showed you the serpent that's biting its own tail. It's called the
Yeah.
Ouroboros. The
And that
Ouroboros.
all-seeing eye. I mean, it's always
Oh
right up
yeah,
at the top, isn't it?
it tells you exactly that this is Lucifer.
Yeah.
So it's an age of reason where the serpent kingdom rule. And you can now see how the whole world order system is not modern. This age of reason on the Georgian Guidestones is nothing modern. It comes out of the French Revolution, which has its roots in Egyptian sun god pyramid worship, which has its roots in the serpent biting its own tail. Serpent biting its own tail has to do with eternity. It's a never-ending wheel. I'm going to show you. You have it on your computer. You didn't even know that. I'll show you.
Mm.
So this war that started in the Garden of Eden is still being played out. All right. The ultimate goal, like I said in the previous interview on 5G, remember, is not power or money. They already have the power. They already have the money. This is about religion. This is about their God. You and me, we love our God. We'll die for him. They will die for their God as well. All that religion is represented by the goddess of reason, the whore of Babylon in the book of Revelation. And she represents everything that has to do with the serpent kingdom. So the end time beast of Revelation and this world court system that is rooted in this beast of Revelation system is what is ruling in our world today, whether we want to, understand that or not. So here you have that little serpent biting its own tail. Here on Athena, the goddess of reason, you have the serpent again, showing you that she's part of the serpent kingdom. Here at the back of Athena's head, can you see the 3 snakes coming down?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Remember this. Very important. Look at the 3 snakes like Medusa. Yes. Medusa, she's got all these snakes coming. Very important. It's got to do with the illumination of your reason. The light, the serpent light that comes out of your head, because now your whole body is illuminated and your brain is broken free, and finally you can see with your 3rd little pyramid Lucifer eye. That's what this genetic manipulation is wanting to take humanity to. Humanity 2.0 is the next evolution of humankind, and it's rooted in ancient Genesis 3 and Genesis 6. Now, this is just a clearer picture. So it looks almost like, people cut their hair like this as well. It's actually very occult. It shows you, and I'll show you now some of the other pictures that you will bring all these puzzle pieces back together. Now, those 3 pillars, you see 3 pillars here in this symbol.
I see
it's
2 serpents.
the two serpents that's going around the staff. It's the same as what you saw on the head of Athena.
Yeah.
She had the middle serpent, and then she had the two serpents on the side. All right. You can see the 3 rows. Keep that in mind.
Now that's a medical symbol, isn't it?
Hello. Are you putting your puzzle pieces together?
Well, look at the World Health Organization logo.
Thank you. There you go. What do you think it's all about? Because remember, when the New Testament talks about deception, if you go into the Greek, which is the original language of the New Testament, well, it's the translated language of the New Testament, what is the word deception translated from in the Greek? Do you know?
Haven't got a clue.
Pharmakia.
Ah, pharmacy.
Pharmakia, yeah. So when Paul talks about the deception of the merchants, sorry, this is the book of Revelation.
And then, but then you've got Albert Bourla, who's the CEO of the biggest pharmaceutical company in the world, Pfizer, who's saying that they will rebuild the Georgia Guidestones. Isn't that
Do you understand why?
fascinating?
Do you understand why he's willing to put millions into a solid granite monument? Because he's worshipping his God. He loves his God. You know? All right. So these two serpents that's intertwining and coming up into your reason brain, your mind, your belief system. We see the symbolism of the serpent in so many symbols today. This is a hugely satanic symbol, of course, but you can see it's an ancient statue, and you can see it's an ancient symbol. So the same symbol in the pharmacy industry, in the World Health Organization, you find on the most occult statues in the world. This is Lucifer himself. Now, do you recognize this? Scott, are you there? What do you see?
I see a snake eating its tail.
Yes. Okay.
That's what they've all been doing.
Yeah, because it represents something much more than just a snake eating its own tail. Because he's eating his own tail, he is going around like this. Like I say, it's the symbol of eternity, but the false eternity. The serpent promised us false promises in the Garden of Eden, and then this sun god, Satan serpent system is on every cell phone and every computer in the world. Do you see it?
And look at Meta.
There you go.
Yeah.
There is the same symbol.
Wow.
Now, the Ouroboros is the ancient religion of the serpent, eating its own tail because he's the god of eternity. Not Jehovah. No, Lucifer. So you see him especially in the Kabbalah, because this is where the Noahide laws come in. Remember, the Jewish man, woman, and child that loves the God of Abraham, they're not Kabbalah. I'm not talking about them. They're not the Jews from the synagogue of Satan. I'm talking about the Pharisees from the New Testament. Yeshua came, and he came for his people. But he had a huge problem with the Pharisees. He called them children of Satan, because they're from the synagogue of Satan, because they came from out of Babylon, and they brought all that occult Chaldean sun god religion into their new religion. So there's a huge difference between being a Jew, a biblical Jew, and being a Kabbalah or a Talmudic or a Noahide Jew. Do you understand that?
No.
Okay. Do you believe me?
I do. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would just like to make sure that you and the audience understand. When we talk about the end time, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Ruperts, they're all Jews. Bill Gates and all those guys, all of them are Jews. You already know that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not talking about the
I
normal
believe
man, woman,
I
child.
believe Bill Gates is actually directly related to the Rockefellers. I believe he's a grandson or something.
Thank you. Thank you. You must please go and look at their genetic, not genealogy, and you'll be amazed. They all belong to the same bloodline because there's a reason for that. Reason again, eh? Anyway,
But you know,
now,
Marta, apparently so does that Thornburg girl who's, always saying blah, blah, blah and
absolutely.
stuff like that. She's also a Rothschild.
Of course, because she is talking. There's no time to go into this because it is amazing how she's leading the young people
Yeah.
into believing this whole Mother Earth religion and this
Well, you know
whole
what struck me, Marta, is
cult.
how she got so much promotion by the media when she was just a nobody. And all of a sudden, it's all about Thornburg and what she's saying.
She is propped up, just like
Greta
Britney
Thornburg.
Spears, just like all these young people that is sacrificed to the Luciferian system when they're very young. They're sacrificed, and then they are put up, they are brought up, and they are made huge icons because the Bible says we're not supposed to worship the stars. But
Yeah.
Hollywood is giving us all these stars, and they've got certain messages. Now, if you listen to their music, you look at the movies they make, you listen to their messages, you can hear how they are promoting the serpent system.
Yeah.
All these false flags. We can recognize all these lies and deception about global warming and all that. We know what's really going on, but the rest of the world doesn't. They follow Thornburg,
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, talking about the snake biting its own tail, I warned you that you have the serpent on your computer every single day. Look at that. Does this look familiar?
Yeah.
You've got the serpent biting its own tail every time you work on your computer. And we want to trust our bodies to Bill Gates, who made the software, and he put in the serpent onto every computer in the world.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely.
All right. So it is a couple more symbols, and there again, I remind you that it's on the Declaration of Human Rights. Now, the next thing I want to point your attention to on this goddess of reason of the French Revolution, look at how she's holding the chains in her hand.
Yeah.
It's the exact same broken chains that's under the feet of the Statue of Liberty. Because the Statue of Liberty is also the goddess of reason, just like the goddess of the French Revolution. Very interesting, eh?
Wow.
There's your pyramid, your third eye, the whole New World Order system on the dollar bill. Now, let's get to this very interesting thing of the three snakes. Remember, Athena had the three snakes coming out of her head. And we've got the pharmacy symbol that's got the your spine, and then the two snakes coming around it. So keep those three snakes in mind. Now here you see you've got your spine, and you've got your two channels that goes on the side of your spine. And that is exactly what the future of medicine is, like Time magazine says. This is exactly the future of humankind. This is the genetic mix of the Genesis 6 fallen angels that they want to recreate here in the end of days. Remember, Yeshua said the end of time will be like the times of Noah, because Noah's flood came because of this genetic mix.
Now, just that there's something I just want to touch on here and get your thoughts on this, Marta, and that is that God says that we, as mankind, are created in His image. And if you have a look at that time cover, what that represents to me is the symbolism of our DNA, with the snake wrapped around it. And
yes.
When God says that we are in His image, it's the DNA that makes us in His image. And now you've got Bill Gates bringing out a experimental jab, which they call a safe vaccine in the fake mainstream media, which has one intention in mind, and that is to alter our DNA.
Yes, that's the purpose of the vaccine. It has nothing to do with COVID. Absolutely nothing. So see on the Time magazine, it shows you here how genetic engineering will change us in the next century. Time magazine is just like Hollywood. It's the Bible for the New World Order. Look at another Time magazine front page. The new genetics, man into Superman. You know, this is human 2.0.
This is
There's
something
another
like
one.
Harari.
You know Harari. You know, he's the Jew that calls himself a Jew, but he's not. So another, solving the mystery of DNA. Specifically, they are now blaspheming the Genesis creation. They've got Adam and Eve here and saying, God doesn't know what he's doing. You know, we will make man and woman as they're supposed to be with our genetic engineering. You know, changing babies. All these Time magazine front pages, look at picture after picture, front page after front page, all about the genetics. And you can see the two strands of your DNA. Now, exactly like the symbol on reason, on the head of reason, she had the middle serpent, which is your spine. And then you've got these two serpents coming up your spine, which is, and we'll get to that, which is heavy in many religions. All right, visions of tomorrow. So we can have hundreds of these front pages of Time magazine. This is the Kundalini. So Kundalini in your all your ancient Eastern religions, very important, but it's also a major religion for the illumination. So when you follow the chakras, you've heard about chakras and all that New Age stuff. So the chakra actually starts here in your sacrum. What do you call it?
Your brain?
No, man, in where your legs come into your buttocks.
Oh, okay. Your backside.
Yeah, there in the backside, you've got like a little triangular little bone. I can't remember the name, but it's got to do with your sacred bone, your sacrum.
Is it the coccyx?
Hey?
Coccyx?
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
Okay, we'll call it the
Kundalini
coccyx.
serpent. The Kundalini serpent is actually activated from that area. That's why you have homosexuality, very important for the Freemasons and the Illuminati guys, because I can't talk about that, but they activate the sleeping serpent from that chakra, and then it goes up through all the different chakras, and eventually it comes to your third eye, and eventually it opens up at the top of your head, and then you're illuminated. Then those serpent, the wise serpent, then comes out, and you're illuminated. Anyway, so in the Kundalini religions, which is unfortunately a huge deception in many religions. You have the representation of those three serpents that we saw also on the new on the Georgian Guidestones, the Age of Reason, on her head, as well as on the pharmacy logo. Now, I think it's the video number 001. Scott, if you can play that one for us.
Absolutely. All right, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a video, because when we try and share the video, you don't hear sound. So here we go. Okay, I've finished the video. Marta, back to you.
Yeah, back to me. You saw very clearly how these three serpents are playing out on this beautiful, nice little light show that the Queen had.
Yeah.
Can you see the symbolism? Can you see how they're part of the serpent system? So these three snakes is nothing new. These people know exactly what they're busy with.
Oops, hang on. Sorry, I've just got to kill that call. Yeah, okay, back to you.
Okay, now I want to show you the whole purpose of the genetic manipulation and the age of reason that we are now entering. And I want to show you how amazingly they show us hidden in plain sight. Hidden in plain sight is amazing once you understand the symbolism. So please play for us the Seattle New Year show.
All right. Okay, this is quite a long one, but it's quite amazing what they do. Okay,
it's amazing. But please look at the symbolism now. See if you could recognize all the symbolism.
Okay, here it goes.
I'm not sure if you can hear me, Scott, but look at the jellyfish.
Yeah,
jellyfish that's illuminated. Those they shine in darkness, hey?
Yep.
Why did they choose luminous jellyfish?
Yeah, and it's like an eye in the front, isn't it?
Yeah, and they are circling like the two serpents. They're circling the spine. And this is what's coming. The quantum dot vaccinations will use luciferase.
You know what I find fascinating too is the fact that this display took place at Seattle, where Bill Gates is centered.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Bill Gates is centered in Seattle. That's where Microsoft is.
Okay, interesting. Wow. He probably paid for this.
Probably.
But now that you know the symbolism and you know the secret language, you can see exactly what they're busy with. You've got this whole illumination at the head the whole time. Look at how the head explodes the whole time and how it looks like the coronavirus. And at the same time, they are showing you the pharmakia. They're showing you the serpents. And they're showing you the new human being. Wow. There we have the new Adam and Eve.
And they don't look male or female.
Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole Genesis 6, ancient alien, Nephilim, fallen angels, very important for the future to know what's going to happen and how not to be deceived.
Yeah. Okay, that's the end of the Seattle video. Back to you.
Okay, you can see my screen.
Yep.
Lovely. There you've got the whole Kundalini spirit. Maybe now, once you saw that whole Seattle fireworks show, you understand how the Kundalini the serpent that comes up your spine, and then into your third eye, and then it illuminates you. You can see how that was represented. Now, I need you to make the connection, because here on the right, I'm showing you the tree of life from the Kabbalah Jews, not the biblical Jews. Please remember the distinction. it's important for me that you understand the distinction. This is the Kabbalah Jews. You can see the two pillars on the side and then the pillar in the center, and you can see the chakras, the same chakras as what you get in the Kundalini religion, because both of these has its root in the tree of knowledge of good and evil of the serpent.
Now, can I just can you go back one?
Let's see if I can. This one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Now it's interesting. Bina, the one at the top left below Kether.
Yes.
B'nai B'rith is.
Oh yes.
B'nai
Exactly.
B'rith is one of the Jewish organizations that is heavily involved in censoring and libeling people who dare suggest what we're talking about here.
Yes, if this comes out on normal social media, I can probably end up in prison, because the whole FBI, the whole CIA, everything is run by these Jews.
Yeah.
And if you say anything against a Jew, and remember, when people talk against my brothers and sisters from the Bible, from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I love them. We are family because we worship the same God. I'm also going to get angry, but I'm not talking about my brothers and sisters. I'm not talking about the Jewish man, woman, and child. I'm talking about the Pharisee illumination system that follows the Kabbalah. The B'nai B'rith and all these guys have been put up and brought up and given power, so that when anybody talks against them, or the Rockefellers, or the Rothschilds, or the Bill Gates, you are labeled as an anti-Semite.
Now,
And
just on that point, Mara, my understanding is that the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers who profess to be Jewish actually aren't. They've actually set up their own sort of arm of Judaism, which is a different Jewish religion, if I can call it that. And again, it's like the snake. They're coming in by deceit and deception. And because the Rothschilds played a huge part in securing Israel for the Jews, in fact, there's a famous a letter which was written where the UK government said, you guys can have it. And in fact, if you look at Tel Aviv, the main street, or the main highway through Tel Aviv is the Rothschild Highway.
Exactly.
Yeah. So back to you.
But now that's exactly what Revelation 3 verse 9 and Revelation 2 verse 9 talks about the Jews that call themselves Jews, but they are not. They are in fact from the synagogue of Satan. You can look at that up. You actually need to study that in the book of Revelation, chapter 3 verse 9 and chapter 2 verse 9. Once you understand the distinction between good biblical Jews and these false Jews, then you can see who is running the world. Just like in the Garden of Eden, you had the tree of life, and then you had the serpent in the tree of knowledge, promising us the same things as God, but it was false.
Okay, now just on that particular point, one of the things that I'd like you to clarify for me is the role of the Vatican in the New World Order, because clearly, from what I'm hearing, the Pope and the whole Vatican is involved in Satanism. It's got nothing to do with Christianity. Exactly. Back to you, but to explain that to us.
Not if I do that now, I'm not gonna get to the rest of this presentation. We have to do another interview, especially regarding that. Remember, in the beginning, I was very subtle in the way that I said that the goddess of reason, sun god worship system, has permeated every religion.
Right.
It has.
Yeah. Okay.
Not even just the Vatican. You can see it clearly in the Vatican.
Yeah.
The Queen of Heaven, Mother Mary, she's the goddess of reason. She's Ishtar. And
well, they have got the dome and the phallus in the Vatican, which is the New World Order's symbolism.
Just like the Voortrekker Monument.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see the phallus.
Well, you need to go back there and go and see all the you see the womb, the dome, which is
I could see the dome.
Female womb.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know what? Again, looking at all these Freemason architectural monuments, you'll start recognizing stuff now.
Right.
Once you've been exposed to
And
this
can I
illumination.
just also add to that that the capital, Washington, D.C., you've got
Oh,
exactly the same
yes,
thing. You've got the actual White House is the female
yes,
dome, and then you've got
yes,
the phallus,
yes,
which again is symbolism of Satanism. Yep,
yes,
back to you.
yeah. And then you've got the water, that dam in between the two, in between the phallus and the female womb.
Yeah.
Okay, we could talk for hours, hours and hours and hours.
Mm.
I want to show you here. This is Mr. Melchizedek. He is a Jew that calls himself Jew, but he's a not. He has written The Serpent of Light Beyond 2012. Very interesting. It's all about these guys telling us what's coming. The Serpent of Light is all about the female light. It's all about Athena, the goddess of reason, the age of reason. You know that song? We are going into the age of Aquarius.
Yeah, I do.
Age of Aquarius.
And I'm not going to join you because when I sing, everybody just leaves.
Go and listen to the words and understand what they are telling us, and we don't even know that they are telling us.
Is this in the song itself?
There's a lot of hidden symbolism for people that know the keywords. Once you know the keywords, once you know what to listen for, once you know the phrases, once you know the hidden agendas, you hear them saying it to you in every movie, in every TV advert, in every song on the radio. You start going crazy because you hear it. People say, Marda, don't kick out Satan behind every bush. Yeah. You know,
No,
the
look,
problem is
I
he's
can actually,
behind bush.
I can actually play that song if you like. The Age of Aquarius.
People know the song. They can go and listen to it.
Okay.
I only have an hour left.
All right. Okay.
I think we only have an hour left. Am I right?
Back to you. No,
We still have,
I might actually play it at the end
sure,
of
yes,
the live stream. Yeah. Okay.
yes, please. Then
Yeah,
we listen
okay.
to it together. Because I still have to get to the Noahide laws. I still have to bring all these 1,000 puzzle pieces together.
Okay,
So I'm
back to
hoping
you.
it still is on track.
Yeah.
All right. You can see, again, I'm showing you the illumination of the serpent on the head. That is exactly why the whole Egyptian system is representing the sun god religion. The moment that the serpent comes from the base of your back all the way into your third eye, then the serpent actually protrudes from your third eye. That is why the Egyptian pharaohs had a serpent on their forehead.
Ah, okay.
And do you understand now why the mark of the beast is on the hand with a microchip? But there's a very sensitive religious aspect towards the rest of the mark of the beast that's got to do with worship. And I cannot touch on that now because I will offend you. We will have to get to know each other, and you guys will have to get to start to trust me more before I'm willing to talk about that. So that's for another time. CERN, of course, we have the same thing. They've got this beam of light, and they've got all these molecules swerving, and back to Athena. All right.
No, sorry. Can I just interrupt you with CERN?
Yes.
The latest objective of this super speeding up particles that bash together with CERN is to actually open up new dimensions. In other words, like spiritual dimensions. In other words, where Satan can basically enter through a portal onto Earth. That is actually the objective of CERN, and you can go and check it out. It's quite extraordinary. Yeah, back to you.
I need to now. Let's not go down on a rabbit trail. But again, I have to take you back to Genesis 6. How do you think the fallen angels came to Earth? Through a portal.
Yeah.
They landed on Mount Hermon. Very interesting. So yes, they want to recreate Genesis 6. This is what they're busy with, nothing else. Because they want that genetic mixture inside of them, because then they will be gods themselves. Just like the serpent promised us in the Garden of Eden. You'll be like God. That is what this is about. They love their Lucifer God because he will make them gods. And they will live forever. They will be this new human super race. now we're not going to go into that tonight, but now we really understand what Hitler was actually busy with. All right, but that's for another time.
Right.
Back to the Georgian Guidestones, we can see that the Age of Reason has a lot to do with the Serpent Kingdom and how he will implement his world dominion through science, technology, pharmakia. We can see how the rulers of the world show us their agenda in plain sight. But people think the rulers of the world and the Queen's little fairy light show and the Seattle show and all those things are just beautiful. Oh, it's so nice. But they don't see the circling of the two serpents up the spine, into the brain. They don't see the massive ancient occult ideas that's transforming humanity into the next evolutionary step, Human 2.0, where genetic manipulation, transhumanism, artificial intelligence, and we can throw into the mix no sexual distinguishing, because the goddess of reason is androgynous. So this whole evolution into this new human being that is sexless, that is godless, and that is intelligent beyond what God created us to be. No longer in his image, now we're in the serpent's image, and we become the superman that genetic manipulation of Genesis 6 implicated. Because what happened the moment the fallen angels had sex with a woman? What was the offspring of that sex?
Well,
it was called the giants.
You had the great flood, didn't you, after that?
Yeah, but what was the children called that came from the sex between the fallen angel and the woman?
The giants, weren't they?
Exactly. Now that word in Hebrew has to do with supermen. They were the supermen of the earth, and they were worshipped.
It's interesting that just after that event, God brought the great flood. And, of course, Noah with the ark. And the ark has been found, by the way. It's not some mythical story. It's actually been found in southern Turkey. And I put a video up about this a few weeks ago. And it's fascinating because the size is absolutely perfectly matching what it says in the Bible. Yeah. And it's at a height of 6,000 feet. It's actually sitting on the side of this Mount Arafat, I think it's called. At 6,000 feet above sea level. That's where it came to rest.
That's amazing.
Sorry, back to you.
And we can talk about Noah's Ark also maybe in another session. Oh, there's so much to tell you that and how that is symbolizing the end times as well. Because Noah, the Bible says, he was pure in his genetics, whereas the rest of the world had the genetic mix in them.
Yeah, of the evil angels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely amazing. All right. Plain sight. We talked about plain sight because it's here in plain sight, and now they're going to rebuild it, like you said. So the monument itself is 5.8 meters tall. It's made from 6 granite slabs weighing 107,000 kilograms. So it's solid granite blocks, extremely expensive, and it's there to make a statement. But who's trying to make a statement? Yeah. So in June of 1979, a guy that was calling himself Robert Christian, very interesting, he said he represents a small group of philosophical, enlightened businessmen, and they are paying for these stones.
Isn't it interesting, Mada, that the initials are RC Christian, like Roman Catholic Church. Christian, yeah.
Oh, you know what? If we have time, if you have a 5-hour session somewhere, we must tackle the Roman Catholic Church. Oh, it's amazing. Okay. Now that you understand a bit more about the Guidestones and their intention of bringing us into the age of reason, now you know who reason is and what she is going to guide us into. Let's focus on the New World Order's plans for the global court and the legal system. So you remember in the previous session, I showed you the 10 commandments of the Georgian Guidestones.
Yeah.
And one of the commandments was, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes, you know, the big issues. Let that be done by a world court. Now I have to show you how the Noahide laws from the Jews who call themselves Jews, but they're not, they're from the synagogue of Satan, how the world court will implement the Noahide laws. You can clearly see how the New World Order is combining the world dominion through the governments of this world, as well as the scientific, the pharmaceutical, the educational, the entertainment, Hollywood, pop music, the health industry, your finance industry, your food manufacturing, and now apparently we're going to start eating bugs. All these things are being combined by this New World Order into going into the agenda of the age of reason. So this ancient religion of the serpent rising, remember the three beams that's going up the spine, the serpent rising, this ancient religion from the sacrum in your spine all the way to the top of the head will bring humanity into the illuminated age of Aquarius, and all that is represented by the goddess of reason. And she's depicted by the Georgian guidestones. So this goddess has her little fingers in every aspect of our modern world today. I take you back to these Kabbalah tree of life, so that we can see the three serpents. You can see the two pillars on the side, and then you can see the center pillar that is representing the spine.
Right.
And this is where the Jewish cult now comes into play with the age of reason, with the Georgian guidestones, with the agenda of the Georgian guidestones, with the prophecy of the Bible of who the end time rulers will be and who they will worship and who they will force the rest of the world to worship through the mark of the beast and through all the other ways.
Just talking about, sorry, Marta, just talking about worship. I think it's in Dubai, just off the mainland of Dubai. There's a little island where the three churches are in one compound. I'm talking about the mosque, the Christian church, and of course the synagogue.
Yes.
They're all in the same compound, and they're talking about bringing one religion out of the three. And the Pope's very involved in that, just for the record.
Yes.
Yeah, back to you.
Because remember, Christianity, Muslim, and the Jews all claim to have Father Abraham as their father.
And the other religions have got Christ as a prophet, not as obviously the Messiah, but they've got the same overlap with much of their stuff.
Absolutely.
But by bringing them all together, you're destroying the whole fundamentals of what our religion is.
Exactly, because again, the 70 nations that were scattered by the Tower of Babylon all had the same roots. And from there on, the different religions spread out. Satan cannot come to us with a pitchfork and a tail. We're not going to worship him. Satan has to come to us looking like the God we worship. That's how he can deceive us.
Yeah.
Listen, Satan has been a covering cherub. In Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28, you read a lot about who Lucifer was in heaven. He was right at the throne of God. He was like a guardian angel at the throne of God. Yeah. He knows exactly what the kingdom of God is about. That's why his false kingdom is so cleverly designed.
Yeah. Now, do you think, Marta, we talk about the Antichrist, and he is actually coming to earth. Do you think the Antichrist is alive and well with us right now?
Well, what does the Bible say? In Yeshua's time, he said, many Antichrists have risen, has even risen now. So the Antichrist system has always been there, and every century or so is replaced by another couple of puppets that is getting his kingdom up and running. So the final Antichrist will not be a fully human. And again, you would have to do the two trees Bible studies with us to understand Nimrod from Tower of Babylon,
Right.
the ancient giant that will rise again because he was dead, just like Messiah, and he will rise again. So he will be much more than just a mere human being. So the Antichrist is not Bill Gates, it's not Donald Trump, it's not Obama, it's not Hitler, but all of them are pictures of the Antichrist, absolutely. Just like Nebuchadnezzar was, just like Pharaoh in Exodus was, just like many of the kings and the rulers in the Bible, was a fantastic picture explaining to us what the Antichrist will do and who he is and how we recognize him. But
damn, I've got to say I got that one wrong, because I always called Bill Gates the Antichrist.
Well, what happens if he dies tomorrow? He's going to die. And then?
True. Okay. Back to you.
This thing is much deeper, and the problem is the prophet Hosea. God says through the prophet Hosea, my people perishes for a lack of knowledge. And the knowledge that God is talking about is not the knowledge in the tree of knowledge. It's the knowledge from the tree of life, the truth. Yeshua is the word of God that God spoke, and eventually that word became flesh.
It's a living word.
It's the living word. But if we're not going to study the living word, then we will be deceived. And it's not going to be God's fault. It will be our fault. Because we perish for a lack of knowledge, because we're either too lazy or we're either too deceived to understand the truth. But I've made it easy for you guys. There's, like I said last time, over 600 hours of intense Bible studies, free of charge, on the Two Trees YouTube channel. Yeah,
look, we'll put that link up here. Okay, now, shall I play that video?
Yes, from Harare, yes, please.
Okay, this is, just for the record, people watching, this is actually the advisor to Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum that you're going to see. You can see him on the screen, but I'm going to play you a video where he's actually talking. Here we go.
The only thing God managed to create are organic beings. But we are now trying to create inorganic entities, inorganic life forms, cyborgs, artificial intelligence, and so forth. If we succeed, and there is a very good chance we will, then very soon we will be beyond the God of the Bible.
Okay,
right, so
back to you.
I can continue.
Yeah, back to you.
Okay. Now that you have about 9,900 pieces of the puzzle, I'm now going to explain to you the Noahide laws, and it's very interesting, Scott, that you've been bringing in the Roman Catholic Church. This is just a little picture that I put in, and it actually is a bit of a funny picture, but it shows you the whole religious system is going to approve the Noahide laws. I'm going to show you that all the governments approve the Noahide laws.
Now, just the Noahide laws are those 10 commandments on the Georgia Guidestones, aren't they?
No, not at all. I'm going to show you what it is.
Okay.
But keep in mind the 10 commandments of the Georgian Guidestones, and I'll show you commandment number 6 on the Georgian Guidestones, as well as on the Noahide laws, and you'll start understanding this puzzle picture more and more and more as we go. All right. So the 7 laws of Noah includes prohibition against worshipping idols, cursing God, murder, adultery, and sexual immorality, theft, eating flesh torn from a living animal, as well as listen to this now, the obligation to establish courts of justice. Here are the 7 Noahide laws. So law number 6 is all about the world courts, just like on the Georgian Guidestones. So according to Jewish tradition, non-Jews, people who are not Jews, like you and me, and the rest of the world who are non-Jewish, who doesn't have a Jewish bloodline. So non-Jews that adhere to these laws are said to be followers of Noah. So remember, Noah was the only man with his family that survived the flood. So everybody that's not Jewish is supposed to follow the laws of Noah. So these laws are regarded as the laws for the righteous Gentiles, or pagans that want to live righteously. They must live according to the Noahide laws. and then they are assured of a place in the kingdom to come. Now, if I look at the Bible doesn't know anything about the Noahide laws. The Bible knows about the laws of God, but again, here we've got the serpent system, a false Kabbalah system that is bringing us a set of rules that God never said has got anything to do with what he wants us to do. He's given us his 10 commandments. So his 10 commandments is for Jews and Gentiles. It's for any human being. All human beings must keep the law of God. So whether you're a Jew or a Gentile, you must keep the law of God. But the Noahide law says no. The laws of God in the Bible is only for them. It's not for anybody else. The rest of the world must just keep the Noahide laws. Now, it sounds okay. It's not sounding sinister or demonic or satanic to you yet. Just give it some time. Genesis 8 verse 1. God blessed Noah and his sons, and he said to them, be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. So from this, because of this verse, Jews say, but now remember, I'm distinguishing between a normal Jewish man, woman, and child, and the New World Order Jews. So the New World Order Jews say that all those who fill the earth are Gentiles, and that is why they call it Noahide laws, because from Noah, the Gentiles were filling the earth again. The 7 laws of Noah, often referred to as the Noahide or the Noahide laws, are a set of 7 moral imperatives that, according to the Talmud, were given by God. Now, the Talmud is a false Bible. In your Bible, whether you read the Old or the New Testament, you're not going to find the Talmud. It's called the Babylonian Talmud for a reason. And the Talmud is not biblical. There's a difference between the set of rules of God in the Bible and the rules from the Talmud. When Yeshua had a problem with the Pharisees, he didn't have a problem when people were keeping his father's laws. He had a problem with the Pharisees that were forcing people to keep the laws of the Talmud. The Pharisees had a problem with Yeshua because they said he broke the law. When you look at the stuff Yeshua did, he wasn't breaking the law of God. He was breaking the laws of the Talmud. And this is where the conflict between the Pharisees and Yeshua came from. Yeshua says, this is my Father's law. If you love him, keep his laws. But the Pharisees said, no, you have to keep our laws, our man-made laws, because we are God's representatives on earth. God gave us the power, just like the Roman Catholic Church. God gave us the power, therefore you must do what we tell you to do. So that's the difference between God's 10 commandments and these New World Order 7 Noahide laws. Now, there's no such thing in the Bible like the Noahide laws, nothing. The problem with the Noahide laws that will usher us into the age of reason, as promised by the Georgian Guidestones, is that they have been established by the Jews who follow the Babylonian Talmud instead of the Torah. The Torah is the commandment in the Old Testament. The very same people Yeshua had trouble with are these Pharisees, these Jews that call themselves Jews, but they're not. They are Satan's children. You will think this is not a big problem, but wait until you see how all the major governments and presidents of the world, together with the Vatican, has approved the Noahide laws. And they call it, listen to this, international legislation. It has been promulgated. Do you know what promulgated mean?
It's been put out. It's been introduced.
And approved by legal entities for being the legislation that will rule internationally. Can you see the connection now between the world courts on the Georgian Guidestones and how this Noahide laws that's been approved legislatively, I'm Afrikaans, as the New World Order's rules for the age of reason.
Can I just give an example of what you're talking about here, Marta?
Yes.
And that is the World Health Organization. We know the role that they've played over the last 2 years to screw up the world through lockdowns and masks and things like this. They are currently lobbying to become the authority over every country's own health department, when it comes to a pandemic. Now, right now they're talking about this monkeypox, which is sort of, you know, you've got to be absolutely,
You've got to be a monkey
yeah,
to believe it.
well, you've got to be gay. And you've got, yeah, I'm not going to go there, but 99% of people who've got monkeypox have had sex with another man, you know, two men having sex. So 95% of the population, there's no risk at all because it doesn't go through the air. It's skin on skin, or rather like HIV AIDS, it's where you
contact.
Contact. But they're now looking at, here in Australia, trying to mandate a vaccine against monkeypox for the entire population.
Yes. Because it's not about monkeypox.
No, it's not. It's about what's in that vaccine.
Yeah, it's about the vaccine. It's about the genetic ingredients in the vaccine.
Yeah.
Now you understand this whole serpent kingdom system, because that's what it's about. It's not about freaking COVID or monkeypox or the new variant is called BA4 and BA5.
Well, I had COVID last week, and I was almost asymptomatic. I really had no negative reactions at all to it.
Okay. I wanted to tell you that they are not lobbying to be above the governments of the world in every country. It has actually been approved already. They can at any time instruct your government or my government to lock down because they suspect the pandemic, and they have the authority to do that. So the lobbying part is over. It's been approved.
Well, I thought 47 African countries had said no to it, and they had to go back to the drawing board.
Go Africa.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
Yeah, and Botswana was central to that. Can you believe it, Botswana?
Yeah. And you know why these African people, because I've got a lot of Bible study students up in Africa as well. You know why they don't believe in this whole vaccine thing?
Tell us.
They don't have TVs. They don't have so much time as we have, being brain spool indoctrinated over so many years by mass media.
Well, let me just add to that. If you look at the country of Kenya, just a few years ago, Bill Gates tried a experimental jab in Kenya, which was supposed to get rid of tetanus, and what it actually had in it was this protein that actually made women infertile.
Yes.
And a huge number of Kenyans are now infertile as a result of the vaccine that their government recommended the population take to and of course it never stopped tetanus. It was all about making women infertile.
Because it's not about the sickness. Yeah, it's not about the sickness. How are they going to get 8 billion people down to 500 million?
Yeah.
You know, they have to make you infertile. They have to make men want to sleep with men and women want to sleep with women and people not wanting to have families. Like you said, the family structure is gone.
But number two on the list that I'm looking at, there is respect of integrity of family. Now, isn't that going against their own law?
When, like you said before, Satan will take everything that is true with God and turn it totally over. So on the surface, there's a lot of things here that looks great. That is the serpent kingdom. It looks like the real kingdom. But the deception is for those who don't understand the difference between these two gods.
Now, hang on. Isn't it possibly because when they talk about family, it's not the traditional family, which is a man, a woman, and children. It's a new age family, which is 2 men, for example, or 2 women, you know, so it's a different interpretation of what is a family.
The Noahide laws and the Jews behind them, although they are not the biblical Jews like I try and describe and explain to you, but they will still follow the standard Torah rules. That talks about no homosexuality, no sleeping outside of marriage. So under the guise of those rules, okay, give me a second. because these are very good moral rules, it has been approved by all the governments. I'm going to show you now.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's going to lift the morality of the world. Now, of course, they can't bring up one religion to the detriment of other religions or to the detriment of the LGBTQ, blah, blah, blah. That's why eventually there'll be world courts. So in the world court system, if you don't do according to their laws, whatever God they worship, whatever family they mean, all these things that is meant for them and not for you, where they can do certain things but you can't, where you have to do certain things but they don't have to. If you don't fall into that system, like with Israel that was in Egypt under Pharaoh, if you don't do what Pharaoh said, he was whipping you with his slave drivers. So, but in the beginning, Pharaoh wasn't whipping Israel with whips. He invited them to join him to build up Egypt. And they thought they were doing a good thing. And slowly but surely they became slaves. This is the serpent's agenda. This is how they will control all the world. Like a frog being cooked in a pot. Slowly but surely the water is being warmed.
Yeah.
Up to the cooking point. So for now, on the surface, everything looks great. Oh, these laws are sharp. Until you get to the point where your head starts rolling. But let me continue with that so I can show you.
Go ahead.
I have totally, where am I now? Okay, so here you can see the Congress.
Can you get rid of that little black blob in the bottom right? There we go, that's better.
Like this. Okay, so on March 7, 1991, the US Senate passed a resolution by voice note. President George W.H. Bush, and this law became public law number 102/14. This is in the language of the 102nd Congress meeting, the first session, and it's a joint resolution to designate March 26, 1991 as Education Day South Africa. Now, going down on this joint resolution made by the Congress in 1991 by George Bush, the President of the United States, whereas they say the following: these ethical values, listen to the key words, and principles have been the bedrock of society from the dawn of civilization. How the hell does he know what has happened in the dawn of civilization? This is the deception where they say God gave the 7 Noahide laws way back then in the beginning of civilization. Nevertheless, so George Bush agrees that these 7 Noahide laws is the bedrock of society from the dawn of civilization, and they are known as the 7 Noahide laws. This has gone through the US Senate. It has passed the resolution, and it became public law number 102/14. He continues in this law, whereas without these ethical values and principles, the edifice of civilization stands in serious peril of returning to chaos. So they want to control the world through these laws, through these world courts, through the age of reason. Otherwise, it will return to chaos. All right, here we go. Public Law 102/14, March 20, 1991. I hope you can see that I've actually given you a snippet of the actual document that you can find on the Congress website. So they designate Education Day USA, whereas Congress recognized the historical tradition of ethical values and principles, which are the basis of civilized society and upon which our great nation was founded. How was the US founded? On the Noahide laws. Here we go back and we see the founding fathers and how they were Illuminati and how they were part of this whole synagogue of Satan system. Whereas these ethical values, without them, we're going to return to chaos, blah, blah, blah. And here you have the whole resolution document. Right.
You know, I have to tell you, Mara, that I had never heard of the Noahide laws before you told me about them. It's interesting. It's one of
You are
those
going
things
to learn
you're not
so
allowed to
much.
know about.
Yes, of course not, because nobody is going to accept these. I'll show you. You're not going to believe what I'm going to show you next. Let me continue. Whereas the justified preoccupation with these crises must not let the citizens of this nation lose sight of their responsibility to transmit these historical ethical values from our distinguished past, we have to transfer this to the generations of the future. Whereas the Lubavitch movement from Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, who is a universally respected and revered man, where his ethical values that's contained in the 7 Noahide laws will return the world to morality. This is all written in the Senate in the new law, where, like you say, Benai Bereshit, the Lubavitch,
Benai Berith, and
Benai Berith.
yeah,
And Benai Berith means Bina is knowledge. Berith is covenant. So Benai Berith has got to do with the knowledge of the covenant. This is what my ministry, Two Trees in the Garden of Eden, really concentrates on the covenant of God, but the true covenant, not the Luciferian covenant. I actually expose the Luciferian covenant so that people can return back to the true covenant. All right, now, this rabbi who's in charge of the Lubavitch movement is recognized by all governments, and especially the United States, because, basically America runs the world. And these presidents, who are indeed all Jews, if you go back into the genealogy, don't have time to go into that now. But here you have the joint resolution signed by this president. What is his name? Oh, no, I forget his name.
Carter.
Carter. Oh, sorry, thank you, Jimmy Carter. So, yeah, Jimmy Carter signed in 1977. He signed the Noahide laws in the joint resolution.
Wow.
And then in 1986, Ronald Reagan signed the resolution with the Noahide laws being the principles for the world. Here's he's signing the actual document itself, the actual resolution. George Bush in his Oval Office.
Mm.
Here you've got Bush Jr. Doing the same thing. The Sanhedrin preparing to enforce the Noahide laws. He signs the resolution.
Just when we're talking about the Bushes, people need to understand that the Bushes are one of the Rothschild family group.
They are poisoned to the core.
They were very involved in funding Adolf Hitler during the Second World War. Prescott Bush.
I didn't know that you knew that.
Yeah, Prescott Bush played a huge role in funding Adolf Hitler.
If you know how the banking system that's run by these Cabal Jewish leaders, how it's almost unspeakable to talk about these things. It is so difficult to think that human beings who claim to be Jews themselves, and today when you talk about them, you are banned as an anti-Semite, but how they sacrificed their own people for this new world order. And I'm not even talking about how much money they made because of that. It is unbelievable.
Now, look,
anyway.
I while you were talking, I just put up for people to see the book Wall Street and the Rise of Hitler by Anthony C. Sutton, and that's without an H, Anthony without an H, C. Sutton. And if you want to find out more about how Wall Street and the Bushes in particular funded Adolf Hitler to the detriment of 6 million Jews, and they came out scot-free and became presidents of the United States of America.
And rich beyond measure.
Absolutely. In fact, George Bush Sr. is one of only 12 people in the world that can literally sign trillions of dollars into being just by putting his signature on a document. There are only a few people who can do it, and George Bush Sr. was one of those people. Yeah, back to you.
The 3,000 people that died on 9/11, It's called the American, almost like the Holocaust, almost like the word Holocaust actually means sacrifice.
Yeah.
And this man caused those 3,000 people to die. If
Yeah.
you understand if you really know what happened at 9/11, again, 9/11 was their excuse to get back into the Middle East. Okay,
Yeah.
but we can talk about
We'll
that
talk
another
about
time.
that some other time. Yeah.
All right, just some more. I'm not going to read all of this. I need to rush forward. But here you can see George Bush signing 1989. He signed the proclamation through the leadership of Rabbi Schneerson and the worldwide Lubavitch movement. The Noahide laws are called the Standards of Conduct that has been promulgated. Promulgated means you bring the law up to the Senate, they approve it, and it's put into the legislation. Now, it's not active right now. I'll show you when it's going to become active.
Wow.
Okay, and here's where everybody thinks that Donald Trump is going to be the savior of the world, and maybe he's going to help us. And he talks against this whole green earth hoax. And there's a lot of things he says that's quite nice. But again, the tree of knowledge of good and evil has a good side and an evil side. And
You know what I've got to just say is that there are all these photos of all these presidents with Jewish people standing around the presidents and them signing documents. It's really, really, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? I mean, clearly there's something going on.
And that's why I said, I talked extremely fast tonight because I'm so scared that I'm going to lose somebody along the way because there is so much information.
Yeah.
And to try and build a picture, I have to give the one piece and the other piece and the other piece. And I can't just tell you these things. If I don't show you proof, then I'm just another conspiracy theorist. So I'm giving you the proof. Now that you know what to look for, you can start doing your own research. And, David Icke is one of those guys that really, he loves Kundalini. He's got his illumination thing going. I'm putting that aside and I'm looking at his journalism, his journalistic research of David Icke.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And if you can ignore his religious New Age garbage, and you can look at his historical research and his current journalistic research, you can learn so much. Okay, let me continue. All right, now, many people think that Trump is like a messianic figure. Many people actually, even people like me who are conspiracy realists, think that Trump will be like a little bit of a savior. So I want to show you he's part of this age of reason. And he's actually much more than that as well. So I will not be surprised when people actually do think Trump is a bit like the Messiah. In the Bible, you have King Cyrus. Do you know who King Cyrus was in the Bible?
No.
Okay, so King Cyrus in the Bible was the man that God said he was the king of the Medes and Persians. And after the Babylonian capture of the Jews, they were in Babylon for 70 years. And God prophesied that after 70 years, he will bring them back to the promised land. So at the time that King Cyrus was in rule, the prophet Daniel said to King Cyrus, now that you're in rule, it's actually 70 years. You are the man that God prophesied will send Israel back to the promised land. So how much money do you think has Donald Trump spent on moving the capital from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem?
Well, apparently he saved it was going to cost a couple of billion, but he actually modified an existing American building, so it only cost, I think, a couple of $100 million to actually move the embassy to Jerusalem.
Sure. But the reason they did that, it's all about Jerusalem. It's all about the Holy Land. It's all about this place because, again, going through the Bible studies, this is the place that God has called his name upon. This is the city of David. This is where the Messiah will return to. Revelation says the new Jerusalem will come out of heaven and will replace the existing Jerusalem. So everything is about gearing up for the kingdom of God back in the beautiful city of Jerusalem. So
there's something really significant on that coin in the hand, and that is the reference to Balfour. Yeah, but back to you.
Sorry, I missed that. What do you mean? The reference to Balfour?
The Balfour Declaration, which was the letter that was written to the Rothschilds.
Yes, by Winston Churchill. Yes, Winston Churchill was also a 33-degree Freemason. He was Illuminist just like the Rothschilds. And there's a lot of prophecy in the Bible about the Jews returning to the land, but there's also a false return to, but anyway, that's another long story.
Yeah.
So here on the coin, you have King Cyrus. Can you see King Cyrus? And then you can see Donald Trump's face.
Yeah.
So this coin was minted to make Donald Trump look like King Cyrus, who will bring the Jews back to the Holy Land. Can you see the false Messiah is already being propped up? We are being made to look at Donald Trump as if he is a good president. But I just showed you in the previous slide. He's part of this new age of reason. He's part of the New World Order. He is a 33-degree Freemason. No matter how much we like him, no matter how many people think that he's a kind of savior. That was just a quick thing to show you that we cannot trust anybody in power or in government. All right. I want to skip this a little bit. Oh, sorry. Now, I want to show you that the Noahide laws has been promulgated. It's in legislation. There is a specific thing that has to happen before the Noahide laws will be activated. Now, I want to see if
This is not tied up with the World Health Organization, is it?
Of course.
Oh, my gosh.
Of course. All right, I'm just going to... Okay, so keep in mind that according to biblical prophecy, also the third temple will come up into Jerusalem and the Antichrist will sit in the temple pretending to be God, blah, blah, blah. So without a constitution, the Noahide laws will actually be activated. But as long as... We're talking about America specifically now, because the American Constitution is currently what is still keeping the people fairly safe. Once what you talked about just now, that the World Health Organization will have the authority without permission from local or regional governments, they have the authority to make new rules. How will they be able to implement that? They'll be able to implement it through martial law, through the United Nations Army, and infiltrating every country with this global army that will make sure through martial law that your constitutional rights is now being waived because of the pandemic, or because of monkeypox, or because of World War III, or because of famine, or because of global warming, you know, whatever reason they have, they will be able to now squash the Constitution. And once that's done, and they have the authority to basically rule, that's when the Noahide laws will be activated. So all the groundwork has been done. I've shown you since 1971, when the Noahide laws was legislated into law. They've been lying there, and it's waiting for the right moment when the constitutions of the world will fall and the New World Order will rise, and the serpent, you know, the serpent circling on the spine, the whole health system will be in charge of the world. So
they're using the World Health Organization.
as part of their vehicles.
Wow.
Absolutely. But you know that because you told me that you heard that
Yeah.
they're lobbying to have authority even
Well, they
above
are.
government.
Yeah, and this is what they call the Great Reset.
Yes, exactly. So the Great Reset has to happen so that the Noahide laws can come in place, so that the Jews who call themselves Jews, but they're not, they're from the synagogue of Satan, can be the world leaders running the world courts that the Georgian Guidestones is telling you about, so that they can take humanity into the age of reason.
Age of Aquarius.
Yeah. As long as the Constitution remains in force, they cannot activate the Noahide laws and they cannot enforce them. However, when the Constitution is abolished through the declaration of, listen to this now, through the declaration of national emergency. Have you heard these words, national emergency? Have you heard it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You hear it on the radio and on the news and on the TV and in the newspapers every single day. Can you see how we are at this pinnacle point where national emergency is being declared? In our country, South Africa, they've given us a little bit of a breather. We can, walk around without masks, and everybody's laughing at me. Oh, you told us the beast is going to stand up, but now we don't even have to wear masks anymore. Hey, wake up. It is just a little bit of getting everybody to relax and stop thinking about the Antichrist and stop believing all these mad, stupid conspiracy theorists. But the moment that you all relax again, they've already put in all the new legislations. So the moment they click their finger, masks and vaccine mandates and everything is going to come back like this. So when national emergency is declared by the World Health Organization and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations and all these kind of guys, they will overrule the constitution of every country. Wow. You understand that?
Yeah.
Then the Noahide laws can finally be activated and enforced, which will be done through the military arm of the New World Order. So tell me, what national emergency can you think of is hitting us currently?
Well, that's,
right across the world.
The monkeypox apparently.
Yeah. Apparently, and all the other new variants of so-called COVID.
Well, you know what I have to say, Mara. It's very interesting about what you're putting forward, and I have no doubt what you're saying is correct. Is that Putin is now seen as the big threat to the New World Order because he's trying to say that he wants to keep his country under his own people, not having someone else ruling them. And he is seen as the big Satan now, according to the fake mainstream media. And he's been censored in countries like Australia, the United Kingdom. Russian television can't broadcast there and give their point of the view. That the whole world has become so clearly defunct. I mean, the whole thing is just completely crazy.
So the serpent is sitting on top of the tree of knowledge, and he's got the tree of knowledge of good on this side and of evil on this side, and he's got the strings in his hand, and he's the puppet master. So on this good side, he is puppeteering his puppets, and on the bad side, he's puppeteering his puppets. So whether Putin looks good or bad, some people think he's the bad one and everybody is concentrating on him. He's the bad one now. And nobody is looking at what Satan is busy with. While we are looking at Putin and Ukraine and all these other guys, you cannot become a president of a country if you're not a 33-degree Freemason. And when you're a 33-degree Freemason, whether you're black or white, Christian or a Muslim, whether you're the president of Russia that's fighting against the president of Ukraine, you're all buddies. You're in the same club.
Yeah, now just on that point, Mada, from Nelson Mandela to Jacob Zuma to Cyril Ramaphosa to Thabo Mbeki, they've all worn that black outfit which has the big white stars on it, which was
Yes,
some
the
symbolism of what we're
Malta.
talking about here. So they've
Yes,
bought
those
into that.
that is called the
Knights
like
of
the
Malta,
Rosicrucians, the
is it?
Knights of Malta, and the white leaders in the apartheid area were also Knights of Malta.
Mm.
So for heaven's sakes, these guys were
They'd all bought
this
into
is
Satanism.
that and they all play their parts.
Yeah.
They just play their parts. I'm almost done.
Yeah.
Okay, so national emergency, COVID, and the virus of these end days is the national emergency through which they can bring their genetic manipulation in, through which they can crush the constitutions of every country, through which they can bring in their Noahide laws. Now, the World Health Organization, the United Nations, we've looked at their symbolism. We can see that the serpent genetic logo, basically, in all their logos. And they're going to take over every nation and every country of the world. But how will they do it? We just say to each other they're going to do it through the health organizations. Now, when you think about health organization, if you talk about the biggest health movement that recently in the last 7 years hit America, what name? I'm not sure if you're going to be able to. I'm just going to give you a hint. What is the how can I say? I want you to think about it. If you think about healthcare transformation in America, what name pops up?
Bill Gates. And Dr.
No,
Fauci.
in America specifically, the healthcare, the transformation in the way that they run the healthcare system in America. Okay,
Well,
not to worry, I'll show you now.
Yeah, tell us, yeah.
But that healthcare system that is currently, it has also been legislatively approved. Trump doesn't, he says in the media he doesn't like it. So currently it's not really so big anymore, but it's gonna come up again very soon when the World Health Organization comes into play. Then these health laws that has already been approved and legislated into the United Nations Senate will then be applied. And this is how the Noahide laws will be able to do what they want to do. Okay, Obamacare. Do you know what Obamacare is?
Of course I do, yeah.
Now, ICD-9 is the International Medical and Legal Execution Coding that was brought in under Obamacare. Now, to have an ICD code, to have that formal code means that it is a legislative law. It's not something that's hanging in the air. It has been approved. Here it is, ICD-9. It's an international medical code. All executions performed at the behest of the judiciary and ruling authority. Now, you know that the Noahide laws will become the world court system according to which the New World Order will run the world. Now, through Obamacare, they will get to the point where if you don't follow their rules, they will execute you. One of the ways by which they will execute you will be beheading or decapitation. Have you ever read in the Bible anything about decapitation?
Yeah.
Revelation 6 verse 9 to 11, the fifth seal. Revelation 13 verse 15 to 17, Revelation 20 verse 1. We will be beheaded if we do not have the mark of the beast and worship the image of the beast. These codes were not created by Obamacare. However, Obamacare is trying to implement every American citizen under international codes to link us to the international health system. These codes were actually created by the World Health Organization.
Wow. This is done.
Hello. 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 In recent years, the World Health Organization's work has involved increasing collaboration with external bodies. As of 2002, a total of 473 non-government organizations had some form of partnership with the World Health Organization. There were 189 partnerships with international non-government organizations in formal official relations, the rest being considered informal in character. Partners include the
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Why are we surprised? And the Rockefeller Foundation. Yeah.
The biggest financial contributors to the Obamacare ICD code system that will allow beheading of certain individuals under certain martial law, national emergency acts, which once the law is here, they can use that law for anything they want.
Wow.
Because their world courts will run the world. Okay, this is just to show you that you can go onto their website, icd9data.com, and you can do your own research further.
Wow.
I'm not going to go into this any further than this. So basically, we are at the end. So here you can see the 6th law of the Noahide laws talks about law and order, and it says that they will handle all legal issues through their court system. And you have the 6th law on the Georgian Guidestones, which is also about the World Court. Now, I just want to read one thing.
It's amazing how planned this is. It's not like this is just coincidental. You can actually, when you, as you say, you join the dots, you can see that this has already been planned. It's not just something that's happening. It's that there's someone who's got a spreadsheet and they're rolling this out. You know, it's all happening as they want it.
As God's prophecies, each and every one comes true. So all the Antichrist's hard work is also coming through.
Mm.
You know, he's following his script.
Yeah.
Because he can also not, he can't go around chopping and changing it. You know, like when Satan wanted to destroy Job in the book of Job, remember? He had to get permission from God.
Yeah.
And God said to him, it's fine, you can test him, but you can't kill him.
Yeah.
And Satan could only do what God allowed him to do. The same with what Satan is busy with now. He can only do what God allows him to do. So he has to follow what he said he's going to do.
Yeah.
He can't do something different now.
Yeah.
So when we understand what he's going to do through the Bible, we know exactly what's lying ahead. But you have to have a passion. The Bible says, if you search for me with all your heart, all your strength, and all your being, you shall find me, and I will reveal my covenant to you.
Right.
And this is what my life's work is through, you know, what I do at Two Trees in the Garden of Eden Bible Study Ministry.
Yeah. Now, Mada, if you can send me the link. Oh, there we go. twotreesinthegarden.co.za. What about your YouTube channel? Can you send me the link in Skype, and I will put that below this video so people can.
You know what? It's very easy. If you go to the website, then all the social media icons.
Right. Okay, well, they're all there. Okay, perfect. So, guys, if you take this link here, you'll be able to go to the YouTube channel and see the various videos. Mada, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a very, very informative and revealing discussion. Do you want to get rid of the share just so we can see you for a couple of minutes?
Sure. Stop sharing. Confirm stop sharing.
There we go. That should fix it.
There we go. Lovely.
Okay.
No, we're actually very good for time. No, we're actually on time.
Absolutely. Mada, thank you so much. And look, we will have to have you back again because, you know,
anytime.
This is such a huge subject. And I really appreciate your perspective on things that are going on. I'm going to go out with, unusually, the age of Aquarius. And I would ask people to please listen carefully
Yeah.
to the words of the age of Aquarius. Is there anything you'd like to say just before I wrap up, Mada?
Well, I really appreciate the fact that you guys invite me. I am passionate about the Bible. I'm passionate about getting people to return back to the basics, back to the beginning, back to Genesis. And I pray that understanding the serpent kingdom does not make you scared. Understanding the enemy makes you turn back to your God.
Mm.
We don't have to be scared for what's lying ahead. Maybe we'll go through difficult times, for sure. We don't preach health, wealth, and prosperity if you come back to Jesus. You know, you come back to God, and you might even end up going through a difficult time. But understanding what this kingdom is going to expect from you and what it's going to reward you with, having that kind of relationship with your creator again, like we had in the Garden of Eden before we sinned, having that amazing face-to-face conversation with your God, isn't it worth it? To understand, rather now, make sure you understand how not to be deceived. Maybe you'll be on the narrow road where there's only a few people while the rest of the world takes the mark of the beast. It's going to be worth it because your lifetime is like 50, 60, 70, maybe 80 years old. That is nothing against eternity that's lying ahead.
Yeah.
So for me, my message is it's worth it, guys, to return back to the Bible. The only truth that you can find out of history and in prophecy for the future.
Right. Fantastic. All right, Mada, take care, and I look forward to having you back again in the near future, as I said.
Absolutely, my friend. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful 2 hours.
Yeah, and I'll send you a copy of the video so you can share that around too.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. Keep well.
All right, guys, that was Mada Janci van Rensburg, and she was talking about obviously a subject that, you know, it's so topical and so relevant today, how we're being deceived. And I'm going to go out with, as promised, the song The Age of Aquarius, which came out in 1969, just for the record. Here we go. Let me just get that up for you. There we go. Just get that right. Okay. Here we go.